I love his immigration policy. It's what we've needed for about 60 years now. I just want it to be constitutional and legal, especially with this guy in Maryland who had a protective order against being deported. I did some research yesterday, though, on the Maryland man. And it turns out that when you combine all of the various information that we're getting on this guy from the mainstream media, you really start to gain an understanding of what the problem is. Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia, or Bob, as his close friends.
Oh, is it Bob? Okay.
His close friends call him.
I wish they would just do that then.
Uh-huh. But as you know, he's a married father of 3. But beyond that, being a vicious MS-13 gang member, that's just his night job. Okay? By morning, Kilmar, or Bob, as those of us who care so deeply about him call him, he runs an orphanage for dyslexic, handicapped orphans with ADHD.
Is that true?
Yeah. Yep, that's what I've learned. That's what I learned from the mainstream media.
Cannot be true.
And then in the afternoon,
What do you mean it can't be true?
in the afternoon, he would go directly to a homeless shelter where he prepared gourmet meals
Wait a minute.
for 7,000 homeless, one-legged veterans every day. Every day. This man.
I mean, is he up for sainthood?
How much time does he have in the
fascinating.
day?
Right? I mean, this guy takes full advantage of the time that he has available to him.
And this is Bob.
Yeah, Bob.
Bob, the El Salvador, Maryland man.
Exactly. In fact, the Pope, thank you for bringing this up, because Pope Francis is so moved by his selfless nature of this wonderful Maryland man and his good works,
Right.
that he's making an exception. Usually you have to be dead to be granted sainthood. He's trying to make him a saint right now.
Oh, that's
Oh,
awesome.
we're going to get St. Bob, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob.
He also said that if he weren't in this, mega max prison in El Salvador right now, he would have appointed him to the Maryland College of Cardinals, where he would have.
Actually, I do believe.
Yeah, he would have. He would have. He would have been made the captain of the College of Cardinals lacrosse team.
Really?
Which I don't have to tell you, the College of Cardinals lacrosse team, second to none. I'm pretty sure they beat the Duke lacrosse team this year.
Oh, hands down.
Yeah. So,
There's another joke in there somewhere.
I mean, yes, that is basically the way he's being portrayed in the media. Okay. He's a saint. I get that. But if we could just understand the process here, the reasoning, it would be very helpful. Is that too much to ask? That we just, if there's evidence that he was really a bad guy, he's a terrorist, show us what you have on the guy. While I'm not saying he shouldn't have been deported, except for the fact that he had a protective order not to deport him. So how do you get around that? How did you get around that?
Yeah.
And they've said in multiple filings they made a mistake. Well, correct it then.
Well, but see, that's where the area lies. See, I was really angry, and at one point I was like, well, no. All right, so if they made a mistake, then you bring him back, right?
Yeah.
And you bring him back. And then, we're told that Donald Trump doesn't have the authority to bring him back. And I thought, well, I don't believe that.
And then Bukele said he doesn't have the authority.
I personally don't believe that. If Donald Trump wants someone back from another country, especially the country that we're giving money to, I don't know what our arrangement is with El Salvador, but we're sure we have one because he's busy building a new prison right next door.
Right.
And I'm sure that money's coming from somewhere, us. So, if Donald Trump wants someone back, you're going to get him back. I believe that.
Oh, yeah.
I personally believe that.
I do too.
And so that's where I was at. I was like, no, I don't believe that you don't have the power to get him back. I'm sorry. I don't believe that. And then homeboy from El Salvador, Bugali, says that he doesn't have the authority. And I'm like, well, wait a second.
Mm-hmm. Right. Who does?
So who does?
Who does?
But then, you find, and I was like, okay, so I don't know that I believe that.
It is Easter time. Does Jesus have to come down?
I guess so.
And release the guy?
I guess so.
Maybe.
But then it's pointed out to me that, he is an El Salvadorian citizen.
Right.
Right. So once we made the mistake of shipping him back to El Salvador.
Yeah. So tough.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Sorry.
Beautifully put, Jeffy.
Sorry.
So that turned you around is the word tough.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
And that's where a lot of people are, honestly.
Yeah, tough.
Yeah.
So
I think that's kind of the middle position, honestly. People are like,
oh, well.
Yeah, it's one guy, you know.
We're right. And I know that, that one guy leads to, how many of our other guys.
Yeah. And I just don't like the precedent of ignoring the process. If the process sucks so much, we have a system in place. Our form of government allows us to change it. Congress could do their job and take away these powers from judges.
Sure.
They have that ability.
And what's the power? What's the judge's order means nothing, really, because...
even the Supreme Court's order means nothing.
Means nothing,
Facilitate his return.
Right, because,
what does that even mean? Facilitate. Well, we did. We tried.
We tried. And he came to the Oval Office and said, no, we're not shipping him back. We're not shipping him back.
He did. And he said it in front of the world.
Yeah.
And again...
He said he didn't have the power. The Bukele said he didn't have the power.
We're not shipping him back.
And again...
Why are you so adamant about it, though? I mean... I don't necessarily know that he needs to come back to the United States. He doesn't, even though there was a protective order. But let him out of prison. Unless there's, and I guess that's on El Salvador, right?
That's where I'm at. Like, I want. Do I want?
That's where the tough comes in.
Right. All right, man.
And
I know.
We all agree, correct?
Yeah.
This man should not be in the United States.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Except for the order that he should shouldn't be removed.
And we might not, and I don't know that I necessarily agree with that.
With
that protective order. You know what I mean?
Right, but that's part of the process.
Yeah.
You eventually get to the point where you ship him out of here.
And that's where we're at, right?
But what we've done...
that he's part of a terrorist group, as soon as he comes back to the United States, we ship him back again.
Precisely. If you find... And that's where the burden is on the Trump administration, since they deported him under that gang affiliation order the designation
that they cited.
Then now you go and you prove that.
Yeah.
And then you send him to the prison.
Yeah.
Or you don't prove that he's a gang member. You deport him anyway after you figure out how to go through the process. But right now, the last order was the protective order. Then there was we screwed up and accidentally sent him to that prison.
Sorry about it.
Again, you've admitted...
Yeah, that you made a mistake.
That you made a mistake
so
here.
fix it.
But what do you want? But they can't.
Yes, they can. They can.
Pat,
you just said you don't believe. Okay, so if anybody, and it's hard to believe anybody could, but if anybody has a better explanation than Jeffy's tough,
I mean, that's honestly...
we want to hear from you.
That's where, that's where a lot of people are at this point. They're
tough.
like, hey, you know what? He's out of the country, not in America.
I'm happy that he's out of the country.
Enough.
And
some eggs are going to get broken while we try to fix this omelet.
The problem is bigger. It's beyond
in the
just
future. I think you're right. If this is where you're headed, I think in the future, this does need to be looked at. Like right now, we don't need to be saying, "Oh, we made a mistake" anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so just keep it in your inside voice, is what you're saying.